This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Ready for a great night out? Top concerts are headed to Jiffy Lube Live this August and September. Don't miss the chance to see your favorite artists like Hosier, Tyler Childers, Keith Urban, A Day to Remember, Suicide Boys, and many more. Nothing beats a great night of live music with your friends. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Head to livenation.com to see the full list of shows and get your tickets today. That's livenation.com.
This is Optimal Finance Daily, the high fructose corn syrup in your 401k by Julien Saunders of richandregular.com. There are only a handful of moments in life when you learn something that changes you forever. Years ago, I saw a documentary about diets and nutrition that changed my perspective on food, agriculture, and the food service industry and how they're intertwined with our government. It shook me to my core, motivated me to learn more and to take immediate action in my life. I've since seen a boom in nutrition and health-related documentaries, books, social groups, and other forms of media, shedding light on the impact of diet to long-term health. Despite widespread financial illiteracy, I firmly believe that a similar revolution is brewing in the financial world. Today, people want to know how the sausage and the money is made. Signals of this shift can be seen in the breakout popularity of films like The Wolf of Wall Street, The Big Short, and the fairly recent skit on John Oliver's Last Week Tonight, where he lampooned the hidden costs in retirement accounts. But long before these flashes in the pan, Jack Bogle has been screaming from the rooftops of the Vanguard Group office in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. He's credited as the pioneer of index fund investing and shining a wary spotlight on the tyranny of compounding costs. The essence of his position can be summarized as follows. Only two things impact the long-term value of an investment portfolio over time. Number one, how well the stock market performed, and number two, the cost of your investments. Since nobody can predict the stock market, as everyday investors, it's critical that we understand the one lever you can control, cost. Unfortunately, it's been proven time and time again that the vast majority of investors have no clue how much their investments cost or that it costs them anything at all. If you're one of those people, allow me to explain. The costs associated with mutual funds vary, but by and large, they're referred to as the expense ratio. That number, typically expressed as a percentage, is the holding cost or fee for a mutual fund, and it's tucked into your fund prospectus like high fructose corn syrup in your everything. For example, if fund ABCD has an expense ratio or fee of 1%, then for as long as you hold that fund, at least 1% of your holdings will go to the brokerage firm. The vast majority of mutual funds have an expense ratio below 2%, and most people will look at that and say, that's not too bad. Nothing could be further from the truth. According to the 2013 study published by the U.S. Department of Labor, quote, assume that you're an employee with 35 years until retirement and a current 401k account balance of $25,000. If returns on investments in your account over the next 35 years average 7% and fees and expenses reduce your average return by 0.5%, your account balance will grow to $227,000 at retirement, even if there are no further contributions to your account. If fees and expenses are 1.5%, however, your account balance will grow to only $163,000. The 1% difference in fees and expenses would reduce your account balance at retirement by 28%, end quote. In other words, the difference between a single point in an expense ratio equated to about 1/3 of the potential balance. Today, the average expense ratio hovers around 1.25%, meaning on average, most people are forking over 1/3 of their retirement funds and don't even know it. Think about that for a moment. Let that sink in. You're doing everything right by investing and planning for the long term, but by simply not paying attention to the fine print or by relying on your advisor to make decisions for you, it could cost almost 1/3 of your savings over your lifetime. Put another way, the same people who shop at Sam's Club, Costco, eat at McDonald's, and coupon shop to save money, turn around and invest that savings at a super luxury premium price unknowingly. If this is news to you and you are infuriated, then congratulations. You've taken a huge step towards increasing your understanding of personal finance. Secondly, I challenge you to carve out an hour of time to do these 4 things. Number 1, log into your 401k, IRA, or other investment accounts. Number 2, jot down the funds you're invested in and their corresponding expense ratio. You can find this by easily Googling ticker symbol, comma, expense ratio. That is ABCD, comma, expense ratio. Number 3, now do a quick Google search for popular stock index funds. And number 4, compare the cost of the fund you chose in step 3 with your fund's cost by plugging it into the expense ratio calculator found on NerdWallet. If you're happy with what you see, then stop right here and go back to blissful ignorance. But if your fund's expense ratio is greater than 1%, then you've bought into some pretty expensive mutual funds. Even if the performance of those funds are comparable, you're losing a lot more to fees that otherwise would have gone back in your pocket. If performance is not comparable, then I offer you a 5th step. Set up some time to speak with your financial advisor about ways to optimize your investments and lower the cost of your portfolio. We did this about a year ago, and it was one of the most uncomfortable interactions I've ever experienced. After providing our financial advisor with a list of funds that I wanted to invest in, he told me he simply wasn't allowed to make the transaction. His boss wouldn't let him. Today, he's still a close family friend, mentor, and confidant, but he's no longer my advisor. Knowing what I know now, I simply couldn't swallow such a high price tag to manage my money. For the record, I don't blame him, his firm, or any financial advisor for doing their jobs. He wasn't doing anything deceptive or illegal. It was me that changed. After watching that health documentary years ago, I vowed to avoid certain foods. Similarly, after learning about expense ratios and other costs to investing, I refuse to outsource my financial advice at such a high cost. The bottom line. I get it. Financial lingo can be intimidating, and making these decisions on your own can be tough. But I assure you, the fundamentals of investing require elementary school math skills. That's it. Plus, the alternative is working your entire life, saving what you can, thinking you're ahead of the game, only to realize that you unknowingly let thousands of dollars disappear into thin air. You just listened to the post titled The High Fructose Corn Syrup in Your 401k by Julien Saunders of richandregular.com.
Imagine you're a business owner who has to rely on a dozen different software programs to run your company, none of which are connected. And each one is more expensive and more complicated than the last. It can be pretty stressful. Now imagine Odoo. Odoo has all the programs you'll ever need, and they're all connected on one simple, easy-to-use platform, giving you peace of mind that your business is always being taken care of from every angle. Odoo has user-friendly, open-source applications for everything. We're talking CRM, accounting, inventory, manufacturing, marketing, HR, and everything in between. Basically, if your business needs it, Odoo's got it. Odoo sounds pretty amazing, right? So stop wasting your time and money on those expensive, disconnected platforms and let Odoo harmonize your business with simple, efficient software that can handle everything for a fraction of the price. It doesn't get much better than that. So what are you waiting for? Discover how Odoo can take your business to the next level by visiting odoo.com. That's ODOO.com. Odoo, modern management made simple. I've mentioned that AUM fees, or assets under management fees, when working with an advisor can erode your wealth over time. So I appreciated how Julien pointed out here that the expense ratios of the funds you're invested in also matter a lot. Those fees, whether in the form of an expense ratio on a mutual fund or AUM fees, or even worse, when you have an expensive advisor who also puts your money into expensive funds, can be easily avoided when you're a passive investor in total market index funds. A fund like VTI with a 0.04% fee will cost you less than 1% of your portfolio over 30 years, where a fee of 2% will gouge 30% of your portfolio. If you're not comfortable choosing these low-cost funds on your own, I highly recommend that you consider a flat fee advisor. This is different from fee-based, fee-only, or commission-based advisors because they don't manage your investments for you. They basically work with you on the financial plan and show you how to implement that plan yourself, and you're paying them a flat fee for their time and knowledge. There's actually a matching service to flat fee advisors through the blog The Finance Buff if you're interested in checking that out. And that should do it for today. Have a happy rest of your day, and I'll see you on the Thursday show tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.